G'day, I'm Mark from Tasmanian Off-Road Adventures. This video is another 4x4 gear review video, and today I'm reviewing the ABR Sidewinder 140 amp dual battery isolator. Now I pose the question, is this the best budget dual battery isolator on the market? Possibly so. Cost me $52 and it's got a very cool feature that makes me think that it might be the best budget dual battery isolator going around. Now I know what a few of you are thinking, possibly a lot of you are thinking, how can this be, which cost me $52, be a really good dual battery isolator, seeing as though it is an electronic, basically an electronic relay, which is how we did dual battery isolation 20 odd years ago. There's reasons for that, but I'll go into it. I'll tell you what it can't do. It's not programmable. You can't change it from gel, calcium, AGM batteries. It's got none of those fancy features. Doesn't have solar input. It's not a DC to DC charger. So it's got none of those features whatsoever. So how can it be good? Stick around and I'll let you know. Now just a little bit about ABR Sidewinder. I can't say I know a lot about them. I have bought products off them before. They've been around a long time. I do believe they're based in Queensland. They sell a lot of 12-volt accessories for four-wheel drives, camping, caravanning, that sort of thing. I've actually bought a fair bit off them over the years in old camper trailers that I've fitted out with dual battery systems and that sort of thing. So they do specialise in that sort of field. Now the reason I think this dual battery isolator is pretty cool is that it's switch off, so the voltage at which it isolates is only 12.4 volts, as shown on the front of the isolator. Now, most isolators isolate at 12.8 volts, which is 100% of a typical starting battery in a car / four-wheel drive, which means very shortly after you turn off the ignition, the isolator, most isolators will cut the starter battery from the auxiliary battery, and then all your accessories run off the auxiliary battery. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. As I said, that's how most of them work anyway. The difference with this one is because it cuts off at 12.4 volts, according to the instructions that this comes with, that is about 65% of the battery's capacity if you take it down to 12.4 volts. I'm talking about the starting battery. So what you're then able to do, you roll up to camp, and I'll take my Cruiser for example, because I'm actually running two starting batteries in that. One is the main, one is the auxiliary. So what happens is I pull up to camp, I've got my fridge running, my lights, my phone charger, all that sort of stuff. And what it'll do, all those accessories will draw off both batteries, the main and the auxiliary, at the same time. And it'll draw off both batteries because this has them connected together. And it'll do that until the starter battery gets to 12.4 volts, which is 65% of its capacity. At that stage, this isolator will isolate the two batteries, and then all the accessories will be drawn off the auxiliary battery. Now typically you would potentially run your auxiliary battery down to about 12%. As I said, I'm talking about a wet cell flooded battery. It'll take it down to about 12 volts, your depth of discharge can be about 12 volts, which is about 50% of the capacity of the battery. So if I do some maths on that, let's say I've got two 100 amp batteries, which I do, I can take up to 65 or down to 65% on the starting battery, which is, let's say, 35 amps. And then I can take my second battery down to 12 volts, which is about 50%, or 50 amps. So I can, between the two batteries, I can draw about 85 amps between the two of them for my accessories. Now, with the isolator that's in there now and most other ones on the market, because you're not drawing off the starting battery at all, I can only pull down that 50 amps off the second battery. So all of a sudden by using this, I now have 85 amp capacity instead of 50 amp only off the auxiliary battery. Then you might say, well, hold on a minute, why do I want to pull off my starting battery? I want my starting battery to be at 100% to start my vehicle, and that's fair enough too. But at 65%, the starting battery will still be able to start your car. 65% is actually quite a lot of the capacity of the battery, so it should still be right to start the car. Now I'm not sure how well I just explained that. It makes sense to me, and it is how they work. As I said, I'll have to look back at the video and see how well I explained it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fit this. I'm going to remove my old 20-year-old Rotronics dual battery isolator in the Cruiser, and I'm going to put this one in. Should hopefully Take me a beer, I reckon. So there you go, she's installed. Took me 2 beers to install, mainly because it would have taken 1 beer, but mate called in to say g'day, and then I decided to resolder or change one of the lugs on the end of the cable from the main battery, so that took a little bit extra time, so it ended up taking me 2. Only really a 1 beer job. Bearing in mind, all I was doing was replacing an old isolator with a new one, so all the cables were already there. This is the old Rotronics one I took out. Back in the days, these were the bee's knees. It's 20 years old. Rotronics are no longer around, so obviously this is the more modern version. I'd be pretty happy to get 20 years out of this, but I'm not sure the old Cruiser is going to last another 20 years. We'll see how we go. Look, it went in pretty easily. A couple of things I didn't mention before was that the lugs are 5.5mm, so you need a 6mm lug. Well, the studs, I should say, are 5.5mm for the main and the auxiliary battery, so you need a 6mm lug to go over that. All you've got to hook up is the auxiliary battery, the main battery. There is an earth wire there that just loops around, a very small earth wire. There is another lug there to put a switch on, so you can press a switch and join the 2 batteries together. So if you want to, you know, maybe the main's gone flat and you want to join the 2 together to start. I didn't bother hooking that up because I've actually got over there, you can't see it, but I've actually got like a marine battery switch that joins the 2 batteries together. So if I ever want to do that, I can do it manually. So I haven't bothered hooking that up. I'll test it in a minute. I'll show you how it works and does what it's meant to do. So you'll see here the orange LED is on. I've just got my multimeter plugged in there over here, so we're reading 12.52 volts. So at the moment the 2 batteries, main and auxiliary, joined together. Now if for some reason I don't want them joined together, all I simply do, I have to walk around there, all I'm simply going to do is turn on my driving lights and the high beam. And what I'm trying to do is drop that voltage below 12.4 volts. If you come around here, I've dropped it to 11.77 and the LED has gone off, so the batteries are now isolated. Now if I turn the lights off, it's not going to join back in because it doesn't join back in until it gets, the battery voltage gets back up to 13.1, which I'm pretty sure it won't be. 12.4. So the LED is still off and the batteries are still isolated. Is it the best budget dual battery isolator going around? Maybe. I can't really tell you that right now. I'll probably give this a good 6 months and I might come back and do a short video and let you know what I really think. I'll get lots of, we're just about to come into summer, so I'll get a lot of camping and 4-wheel drive trips in over that period and come back, but I'm pretty confident it's going to do the job. The features that I described at the start of the video, I'm really happy with. So we'll see how it goes. But that's a wrap for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Click like, click subscribe, and catch me on the next 4x4 gear review video.